Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk all about my goals and all of the action steps that I am currently working on to make progress on my overarching goals. If you're new here, hi, I'm Laken and I talk all about goals. I talk about my goal journey and hope that that brings you some inspiration and some realness on a real person with a real life doing their own personal goals, as well as all of the tips and tricks that I know to help you achieve your goals. So in this video, I will go through all of the action steps that I had picked in August, how they went, which ones I have finished. Spoiler alert, very few of them are completely checked off, but I am filming this video on August 20th, which is a little bit early, but I have a lot coming up at the end of the month, which does come through in my goals. And then I will talk about all the action steps that I have picked for September. All of these goals are a part of my overarching quarterly focuses for Q3. So if you haven't watched that video, I highly recommend checking that one out first. It will make a little bit more sense when I share these particular action steps. But let's get right into it because I tend to babble a lot in these videos. And then at the end of the video, I will actually give a glimpse into my business goals and how those are going for the quarter. That is something new I started this quarter. Last month when I filmed this video, I didn't have a ton to talk about related to my business goals. I definitely have more to talk about now. And so I'm excited to get into that. Although I'm going to be totally honest with you, I forgot that I was going to include that until right now. But we're going to talk about my personal goals first, which are all ready to go and set up. And then I'll probably have to pause for a second to prep what I'm going to say about my business progress. But let's start with the one-time steps for August. So the first one was to plan out the cookies that I'm going to make for my daughter's first birthday. And actually, as we're sitting here, I'm staring at the cookie cutter, the little one-shaped cookie cutter. I decided, I'm going to be honest with you. I went back and forth on whether I was going to actually incorporate this. Like, do I need to actually make cookies for my daughter's birthday? I have so many other components to this party that I'm putting together. Like, does it actually make sense for me to also make cookies? But this goal is orange, which goes under the category of my hobbies. And making the cookies, while they are for the party, is about my relaxation and the hobby aspect of it. And I do actually think that making and decorating cookies the week leading up to the party will add a layer of rest and like relaxing. It's the hobby aspect of it for me. This goes really well with a question that I get a lot, which is, what if the goal fits two things? Or what if the action step fits two goals? What if there's something that I want to work on and it really hits two goals? Well, first off, that's like a magical action step that allows you to make progress on more than one goal. Truthfully, the color that you pick doesn't really matter, but when you're deciding, I would encourage you to answer, which one is it more important for? Is it more important that I make these cookies as part of my hobby goal, or is it more important that I make them for the party goal? Had I decided when I gave the cookies this color that it was about the party goal, I might have cut them. I might have been like, that's unnecessary. My dad's already making 2 cakes. I don't need to also like make cookies. But it's not about that. It's about the hobby for me. And that's still important, especially this week as I'm planning a birthday party and my first baby is turning 1. So I still want to prioritize it. But what I did decide to do, I did not mean to talk about this one step for this long. I promise I won't do this for every action step, is keep it simple. So instead of multiple shapes, I'm gonna do multiple colors, but I'm just gonna do one shape, just this little one. So anyway, the step of planning them, done, checked off. Making them, I haven't done that yet, obviously, but I do have a plan and it's scheduled for when I'm going to make them. The next 3 one-time steps were all about lowering the amount of time I spend on my phone. So I took the 2 biggest culprits, which is Instagram and playing games on my phone, and then the total amount of screen time on my phone, and I tracked it. I started off by pulling all the numbers for July. And if you have an iPhone, I talked about this more in last month's goals video, but if you have an iPhone, all that data is already stored in your phone. If you do not have an iPhone, there are also apps, and to be honest, I tried a couple of them this month. I don't have any to recommend. None of them were completely free, and I didn't feel like the free versions gave me any additional information that I can't get from the screen time feature of my phone. So I tracked all of July and I calculated what the averages were. My goal in August was simply to lower those. And so I have checked in with where I'm at twice so far. The first one was halfway through the month, and that's why I gave myself that progress check mark for all 3. Halfway through the month, as of August, I think I did it on the 14th because there was a live that day and I wanted to share my progress with you. I had lowered them. They were all lower. Then I went ahead and calculated the numbers again this morning just to see where I was at for filming this video. And they are all still lower. One of them has gone up since that midway point, but it's still lower than the July number, which is all I wanted to do was lower them. These are the kind of steps that I'm not gonna be able to click or check complete until the end of the month. Like I won't know until the very last day of August whether I did this, but I'm feeling really good about the progress that I've made so far. All right, the next 3 action steps are all related to our family memories and the parties that I wanted to host in Q3. So the first one is party prep for my daughter's birthday. That I've made progress on, but I also won't be able to check that one off until like we've actually hosted and that party is done. But I'm feeling good about the plan and the progress for that one. The next one was the weekend plans. So we have some close family members that are flying in, grandparents and my grandfather that are flying in for her birthday party. And so I wanted to coordinate what the rest of the weekend was gonna look like over the course of that whole weekend besides just the party while people were in town. And so we did that, checked that off. And then the last one-time step was to send out the invites for our Halloween party that we are planning to host. And I haven't done that yet, partially because my sister is the one with the freaking Canva design. We started this tradition, I'm making it a tradition, last year with the first annual Strum Halloween party, and my sister designed the invite and it was super cute. And I would like her to just kind of maybe use the same thing, maybe switch up the colors a little bit, put second annual and put the date, time, all the things. But she is out of town, out of the country. And so I don't even think she took her laptop with her. She could probably share the Canva file with me from Italy, but it's honestly not that big of a deal. I'm gonna wait till she gets back and probably get those out next week. So I intend to still get to that step before the end of the month, but it is not done as of the filming of this video. All right, moving on to the weekly action steps. So the first one was related to my hobbies goal, even though it wasn't specifically in the original plan for the quarter. It was something I just added in August, and I'm really glad that I did. And that was to utilize the bath products that I have. I love to take baths. It is one of my favorite hobbies, if you can call it that, one of my favorite ways to relax. And I feel like I do a decent job of prioritizing it, like as a way to rest, either while my daughter is napping on the weekends, after she goes to bed, or when my husband is watching her at some point on the weekends. Truthfully, it is a lot more relaxing to do it when she is asleep and I can't like also hear her in the background. But what I wasn't prioritizing was using the bazillions of bath salts and bath bombs, etc., that I had in my bathroom. And after a bathroom clean out and discovering all of those, I added it to my goals to use the bath products, and I've done it at least once, if not multiple times a week since putting it on my goal sheet. For me, truthfully, that is the beauty and the power of my goal planner. Not just mine, like, I mean, I love mine, obviously, that I created, but a goal planner in general, as I am so much more accountable to this piece of paper than I am to myself. I could put all day long, like on my to-do list, use bath products, but there is something about this piece of paper that holds me a lot more accountable. So that feels really good. The next one was to work on the photo albums. That has not been going well. Truthfully, there's a lot going on over here. We've had a lot of family things happening behind the scenes, and it just has taken a backseat, and that's okay. The next one was to work on my monthly tasks, and that has been going well. I rewind. This was a goal back in Q1, was to master my weekly and my monthly recurring tasks. And I did that. I feel really good about that. I even did a whole live talking about it because I knew that it was helpful. I had a couple light bulb moments that I wanted to share with you. Then in Q3, what I did was add in cleaning tasks. I'm gonna be honest. The way that I've been tracking it in my goal planner has not been helping me do the cleaning tasks. It's been a check mark because I'm doing the ones I was doing before, but I have not been doing the ones above and beyond. So I'm changing up the way that I'm tracking this in September to hopefully account for that. And then the last one was to do a new recipe. In a similar vein, I have been checking this off, but I don't think I have been utilizing all of my resources to their fullest capacity. And so we're gonna change it up a little bit in September as well. All right, moving on to the daily items, complete with some percentages. Again, I am filming this video on August 20th. However, I started these daily tasks the last week of July. So I have 22 to 23 days of data, depending on whether I've already done it today or not. So the first one was to play the piano every day. And this to me, I thought was gonna be an easier goal because in July, I set it as a weekly step and was doing it almost every day. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to make it a daily step in August. And then you'll see the very first week, I struggled. I struggled to do it every day. And I don't know if all of a sudden having the pressure that I wanted to do it every day now made me want to not do it every day. So I struggled a little bit, and then I finally got over that. I don't know what was going on, but I finally got over that, and now I have been playing it almost every day, if not multiple times a day sometimes. Like, I will do it as part of my morning routine. It's like, it is just part of our routine. We go into the living room, I open up the windows to bring the light in, and then we sit at the piano and I play for a little bit, and it's lovely. And then sometimes I will also play in the evenings if we're hanging out in the living room. So sometimes it's twice a day. I'm not gonna add it twice on my goals in September, but that has felt good. The next one is going through photos. By the way, the percentage for piano was like 50 something percent of the time. Photos is about the same. It's just over 50%. I still don't feel like I'm making as big of a dent in the photos as I need to, but to be totally honest, at this point, I'm just gonna power through because I wanna get through all of the photos from my daughter's first year of life before her birthday to make a slideshow, and I'm just gonna have to power through. It's still staying on my daily goals because I want to continue to make it a daily habit so that I don't ever get into this backlog again. This is one of those goals, and I have talked about this in videos before. There are going to be times where you are in triage mode. What I mean by that is you are essentially playing catch up or getting yourself to a baseline that you're proud of. And it's going to take a lot of energy and time and focus to get yourself to a place that you feel good. So when it comes to clearing through photos on my phone, that place is, I've gone through all the photos. And I was at that place at one point, by the way. Like, there was a one time in like, I don't know, 21 or 22 where I was all cut up. And then I shifted into maintenance mode, and all I had to do was do the most recent photos, which really doesn't take that long. And that is where I'm trying to get to. So until I am done with triage mode, this is gonna be a goal. This is gonna be something that I'm working on. It was related to the overarching goal of finishing these photo albums for the quarter, which are clearly not going to happen. But I at least feel like I'm making some sort of progress on this goal, and I'm gonna even double down on triage to get through all of Lila's first year of life photos in the next 10 days. Okay, the next one was the weekly tasks, like on my recurring tasks, and very similar to the monthly tasks. I got a lot of check marks here because I was doing the ones that I was already good at consistently doing, not really because I was doing some of the new ones. All right, the last 3 daily items were all related to spending less time on my phone. And these have been honestly going pretty well. I'm only carrying one of them over into September. So let's start with AM phone time. This one was good, but also for whatever reason, having this in my goal planner didn't actually, I think, make a difference. The days that I stayed in bed and scrolled past, I give myself 5 minutes. By the way, when I say AM phone time, I do not immediately hop out of bed and like get into my a million step morning routine. No, I get 5 minutes to scroll, click on whatever app I want to click on, look through things, respond to any messages, read emails, whatever I want to do, I get 5 minutes. And after my alarm goes off, and then I have to get out of bed. If I snooze, or snooze also counts as AM phone time, I'm just asleep, or I spend more than 5 minutes, I don't get that check mark. And I'm going to be honest, the days, like having the check mark didn't make a difference in my head. I could tell that the days I was getting up, I was going to get up anyway. Like I was done checking through things. And the days that I like scrolled, thinking about the check mark didn't motivate me to get up and stop scrolling. So that one, while it looks like I did a decent amount of progress, I don't think it actually impacted the progress. And that happens. We have to have some trial and error. There are going to be action steps that we're going to try, we're going to see, and then if they don't work, they don't work. And that was that one for me. The next one was Instagram limit. I have been good about this 68% of the time so far, which is pretty good. And I, like I said, have lowered the overall average. So I'm feeling good about this one. Finally feeling good. But this is the one that I'm carrying over because I still think that this is the biggest culprit of overall spending time on my phone that I don't want to be spending on my phone. And I knew this, but like, I'm glad that I finally recognized it. Because what I mean by this is, if my screen time is extra high, on a day like today where I'm literally using my phone to film a video, oh, well, duh, like the camera is gonna have hours of usage time on my phone today. And so my overall daily time is gonna be high. And that's just what it is. And I'm okay with that. But on the days that it is high and I didn't do something else on my phone, or I know that I scrolled instead of reading, it was Instagram. That was my culprit. So that one is getting carried over to September. I have not decided yet if I'm going to lower the limit. I'm going to make that decision at the end of the month when I have all the data and see how I feel about it. The last one, the last daily step was the game limit on my phone. And this one, while I do think having it on my goal sheet did make a difference, like there were days that I hit the limit and I said like, okay, I'll be done playing games on my phone today. There were days that I overrode the limit, that it wasn't about the check mark at all. It was like, it's the weekend and I'm going to go over the limit and I don't care. So that one, even though I think it was helpful to learn a little bit and I did overall lower the average, I don't feel like it is as detrimental as it was before. All right, let's move on to September. Now, before I talk about my September goals, you're going to see the number of things I have on my list. I have 7 one-time steps, 7 weekly steps, and all 6 daily steps. And I have a busy September. We have our daughter's first birthday party that leads into family still being in town and her 1-year doctor's appointment, which I'm anticipating comes with a couple of extra days of love and care after that. We're going out of town, just us, with another couple for a football game. Then we're going out of town as a family for my husband's work trip. Then we come back and my mother-in-law's coming to visit. It is a very, very, very busy month. That said, all of the goals that I have on here are very important to me. And they're things that I want to make sure that I continue to prioritize around all those other things. And some of them are not extremely time intensive. And some of them are things that I'm already doing. Actually, pretty much all of them are things I'm already doing. It's just little tweaks or things that I don't want to give up around all of the chaos and want to prioritize. We're going to see if I regret this decision at the end of September in the next video. But for now, I feel good about the plan that I've made for September. And that's always how I want you to feel too. I literally ask our community members every time we finish the goal prep setup call that we have every month. I say, how do you feel about your plan? If you're already feeling like the month hasn't even started and you're feeling overwhelmed or scared or you think it's too much, it probably is. But if you are going into it thinking, I got this, barring any like explosions, it's going to be okay. And that's how I feel, even though there's a lot of things on my list. Okay, let's get into them. So in terms of the one-time steps, the first 3 things are all the same as last month in terms of lowering averages. So even though I feel good that I've lowered the averages and I've taken off some of the daily steps related to this goal, I still want to continue to lower them in September. So I have lower Instagram average, lower my game average, and lower my total average. Then the next one-time step I have added in to kind of be a bonus that they work hand in hand with the other steps. If I lower all those averages, and spoiler, I already told you Instagram limit was going to be in the daily section, I theoretically will finish my fiction book. Like that just makes sense. If I am not scrolling on my phone at night, playing games on my phone, I am picking up my Kindle and reading my book instead, I will finish my book. So that is a one-time step that goes with these, but it is something that I'm already doing. I'm already reading at night before bed. The amount of time I read depends on when I stop scrolling. And so those should just work hand in hand. And I want to be able to check off that I finished that book. I'm about, 40-something% as of today. All right, the next one-time step is to finish 1 album. This theoretically, like I talked about, that I'm gonna like hammer through all of Lila's photos for the party, then taking those photos that I'm putting in the slideshow and putting them in a book, theoretically, shouldn't be that much work. I don't like to use the word should. I really try to use a different word in its place, but like it should not be that much work. So fingers crossed I can get that one done. The next one is to plan the Halloween party. Even though September is a little bit of chaos, it does die down a little bit at the end. So this is something that I want to fit into September, but I know that I'm not going to worry about it until the end of the month. My mother-in-law leaves on the 21st. I'm looking at the calendar right now. No, the 22nd. That's the Sunday. My wall calendars are Sunday to Saturday, which always throws me off. I'm so used to looking at a Monday start calendar. Anywho, after she leaves, that gives me still 8 days left in the month of September. That's when I'm going to plan the Halloween party. So it's still a September task, but it's a late September task. And then the last one-time step is how I'm switching up the tasks, the monthly and weekly recurring tasks, in order to encourage me to actually do the cleaning ones and not just the ones I was already doing. So for September, my goal is to do 10 monthly tasks. I really can't do that without doing some of the cleaning ones. So that is where that number came from. It's not all the ones I want to do, but it's more than I'm doing now. And that's it for one-time steps. So actually it's not that out of this world. Okay, let's get into the weekly steps and a new goal that I am adding to my overarching goals. So the first one, same as last month, is to use a bath product. I still want to keep doing that. The next one is the weekly tasks. So similar to the monthly ones, I am now, instead of putting it in the daily section, it's in the weekly section, and I want to do 10 weekly items every single week. That will likely not happen like the week that we're out of town, and I'm okay with that, but my goal would be for it to happen all the other weeks. The next one is related to using or finding new recipes. Instead of just finding a new recipe for that week, I want to use a new resource. I crowdsource this at the beginning of the quarter, asking you for all of your recipe resources, and I have this laundry list. But you know what I do each week when I want a new recipe? I literally just go to Google and like search something that I'm like remotely thinking about and find a recipe for it. That's kind of cheating. That's not how I would like to do it in September. I would like to actually use the resources from the list that I compiled from you and find recipes from there that I'm excited to cook. Okay, let's talk about the somewhat new but not really new goal that I'm adding. Focusing on my physical health has always been a focus. I mean, I think if you are a human being who functions, you do need to be somewhat conscious of your physical health and how you're taking care of your one body in order to continue to thrive as a human. Like, we have to take care of ourselves if we want to keep being humans. And so it has ebbed and flowed on what that's looked like. There have been times that I've tried to lose weight. There have been times that I've just taken care of my body, either pregnant or postpartum. There have been times that I just want to make sure that I'm doing the things that I know that feel good. And at the beginning of the year, that was really strong, and I was doing a great job of that. And then it kind of dwindled a little bit, and I let things fall to the wayside. Well, at the beginning of, really more at the end of July, I was kind of feeling like I missed some of those things. I missed some of those health and wellness related action steps from my goals because I was pushing them down. And I almost blew up my August goals. I talked about this on a live. I almost blew up my August goals and said, like, forget it. I'm just going to take some things off and add some health things in. And I decided not to do that. But I did start focusing a little bit more on some health things by adding them back into the habit tracker app on my phone that I use. It's literally just called Habit. I don't know if they have it for Android. I know, obviously, I have an iPhone. So I started tracking some things there on my Habit app and kind of reprioritizing them. And it's been going well. Is it perfect? No. Do I expect it to be perfect now that it's on my goal sheet? No, not either. But I do want to put it here. That way, going into all that chaos that is September, I don't let it fall back again. So I want that extra layer of accountability. So I just grabbed another color that I hadn't used yet, which was yellow, and added in some health and wellness things to my weekly and my daily section. So in my weekly section, it is just about working out and movement. And so instead of writing, and I've told you this a number of times, instead of just writing like workout 4 times, that could work, especially if you're tracking it in your daily section. But then what happens if I work out 3 times? Then I don't get that check mark and I don't see that I even made a little bit of progress or 75% of the way. I would always encourage you to write it on multiple lines. So that is what I decided to do. And then I also decided to get a little bit more specific so that I don't have my, like cop out essentially. So what I did is I have 3 lines in my weekly section to do a strength class, and I'm not setting a time minimum. It essentially is 10 minutes because Peloton doesn't really have anything. There's a couple 5-minute classes, but most of them are 10 minutes. So really, as long as I do one 10-minute strength class, I get a check mark. And my goal is to do 3 of those per week. Then I want to get on the Peloton. I don't just want to use the TV for the strengths. I want to get on the bike again and work on my cardio. I've been putting off getting on the bike. I've done it twice in August so far, but I have been putting it off since I had a baby. And I want to get back to it. So my goal is to do 1 per week. It's pretty reasonable over here. So even though there's a lot of things and those are a lot of weekly steps, they're things that I'm already doing and things I want to prioritize even when we're traveling. Strength doesn't have to mean that I am picking up a weight. Now, the hotel that we're staying at does have a gym. However, I'm also taking a tiny human with me, and my husband will be at like sessions during the day, during the mornings. So if I want to get my workout in the morning, which is the best time for me, I'm probably going to do it in the room while she is napping. And so I'm going to figure that out, but my goal is to still do it. So let's move on to the daily items. The first three are things that you have seen before. So I want to continue to play the piano every day. Again, I think that went well. I think it's going well in August, but knowing that September is going to be a lot, I wanted to make sure I continued to prioritize it. Instagram limit, same thing. And photos, same thing. I feel like I've already talked your ear off about those. Then the 3 daily steps that I am including for my health. The first one is to go for a walk. First off, the weather in September in Chicago is beautiful. And I really want to take advantage of that and get out and go for a walk. We have been doing this. My daughter and I typically go for a walk in the mornings as part of our morning routine. It gets us both out of the house. We get some fresh air. I don't necessarily consider that like my workout because I typically don't walk very fast. We kind of just like stroll around. Sometimes we go run an errand. Sometimes we sit on the bench and look at the doggies for a little bit. Like it's not meant to be a workout, but it is movement and really gets us that fresh air. Water is the next one. I have been tracking again because water is something that is so important to so many aspects of your health. I've always said to measure in devices, not in ounces. Measuring in ounces is difficult and complicated. And so my goal has been to get 3 of these in. I'm going to see how it goes for the rest of August, and I may up that to 4, especially given like upcoming travel and like that level of dehydration that adds. We'll see. I may up it to 4. I haven't decided yet. But either way, there will be a water goal in September. And then the last one is to close the rings on my Apple Watch. So that is something else that I have been writing down and tracking in addition to the screen time. All I did, by the way, when I say tracking, I think I talked about this last month, but just in case, is I literally print out a calendar from the internet, like freecalendars.com or something. And I write in what my screen time numbers are. I write in Instagram, games, and total in the little box for every day. And then for rings, same thing. I write down, if you've never owned an Apple Watch, it tracks 3 different things. It tracks your active calories, energy, exercise minutes. Oh, I've been talking for a long time. Stand goals, and then it also tracks your steps. And so I've just been writing those numbers down in August, and truthfully, just writing them down encourages me to work on them more. But in September, I want to set a goal to actually close them. But I'm going to pick a number, especially now that Apple lets you change all of them, which is awesome. That's more reasonable for me, but also pushes me a little bit. So that is a lot for my personal goals. And again, I know it's a lot given how much we have going on, but I also know that all these things are really important to me and I want to prioritize them. All right, let's talk about my business goals. I paused this for a second because I was gonna like sit here and think about it, but you know what? I'm just gonna talk about them. I could sit and think about it, but I really do get my best ideas from talking. And so let's talk about it. So for my business goals this quarter, I decided to have 6 as opposed to typically I would set 3 or 4, but some of them are a lot smaller. In fact, one of them is completely done. So the first one is my overarching revenue goal. And I do have a good, better, and best goal. And just like last month, I'm actually only about 2/3 of the way to that first level goal. So as long as I continue doing everything I expect, I will definitely hit that good level goal. I would like to go above and beyond in some areas, but a lot of what I'm doing right now is kind of behind the scenes, and I'm hoping that that makes an impact on my revenue potentially in later quarters, and it just might not show up this quarter in my business. The next one was to not only post and share and talk about my annual survey, but also to review the results. And that is the piece that I finished up in August. And I feel really good about that. I have a ton of great ideas. In fact, that goal spiraled into another goal that, well, it's kind of a piece of a goal. I'll talk about it in a little bit, but it added a lot of extra time to a goal on this list. The next one was the podcast with my sister. And even though this is a hobby and not technically a business goal, it is something that I wanted to prioritize and treat it more professionally and get the podcasts up on time, get them with their full description boxes with all of the timestamps, be more thoughtful about posting the reels on Instagram and other things on Instagram besides just, hey, we have a new episode, etc. And so what I did was I put little dots for each of the episodes, and I actually missed one. One of them didn't go up on time. And so instead I don't want to show you this because it's got all of the like revenue numbers and whatnot. But anyway, I just put a little dot. I didn't get a check mark for that episode. I just got a little dot. And then we actually decided to take a little bit of a break from the podcast between my sister's business taking off a little bit, which is awesome, but also time consuming. And we have had some family things going on our side behind the scenes, and just all of the things on our plates. Our schedules weren't lining up, and we were going to really push ourselves past the limit to get episodes done before she left on her trip. And so we decided, let's just take a break until she gets back. So we won't get to all the episodes that I'd originally planned and put dots on this page for in Q3, but that's okay. I feel good, and I'm glad that I made this part of my goals, because the other piece of it were these side projects. And I talked last month during this section about how I was going to add little dots for the side projects, and I did. I added 8 little dots for the 8 little side things that I wanted us to do. And so far, this quarter, I've gotten to 5 of those 8, which feels really awesome. Like, there are things that I kept putting off, and most of them didn't take as long as I thought they were going to, which is of course always the case, but it feels good to see those check marks. The next one was the Goals with Laken community, and I had a goal of a certain number of new members, and this is the goal that is still in progress, but it's kind of spiraled into something else. And I'm excited to talk about it because it's finally up, and that is, it's finally up. Hopefully by the time you are watching this video. As of filming, it's not up, but it is something my VA and I are working really hard at behind the scenes. Like, all my extra time is going towards this. And that is revamping the replay section. So we have a community coaching call every week, and there are usually some really fantastic tips, stories, nuggets, ideas, etc., buried deep within those replays. When a new member joins, or even when a current member goes and looks, there's hours and hours and hours and hours of replay footage that they would have to dig through to find anything valuable. Like, going back and watching the replays, it can be really helpful, but also very time consuming, and you may not get what you're looking for. So, based on some feedback from the annual survey and some ideas in my own head, I finally decided to prioritize revamping the replay library so that it looks totally different. And so what my VA and I have been doing is we have been chopping up prior calls and sorting the clips by topic. So instead of it being like, this was the Q&A from March of 2024, it is, okay, this question was about breaking down goals. It goes in that section. This section was about perfectionism. That's going in this section. This question was about rest. So it's going in that section. And all of the clips go with their topic. So, and it doesn't necessarily matter. The dates are there too if you're curious, but it doesn't matter when the question was. What matters is what the topic is. So that has been taking up the majority of my time related to this goal. This is one of those things that I'm hoping will come through, like shine through in the numerical goal, which was quantity, like number of new members. And we have had some new members join in July and August, don't get me wrong, but similar to revenue, I'm not seeing those higher numbers yet. But again, as of the filming of this video, I haven't launched or talked about this yet. So I'm really excited about that. And hopefully when I talk about these goals in my like quarterly review, I will have some exciting numbers to talk about. All right, the next one is the planner launch goal. And I talked about this in the quarterly video. I set a numerical goal for this, but it will not come to fruition until Q4 because the planner is launching on Q1 or on October 1st. But all the behind the scenes of creating the planner has to happen now. And I've been working on that slowly but surely. The last business goal for the quarter. Number wise, I haven't been hitting the numbers that I set, but I talked about this last month. The numbers that I picked weren't necessarily making sense, but I have learned so much from this goal and also have achieved so much thanks to this goal. I finally set a goal of number of hours that I wanted to work, and that is making a huge difference in my progress and doing these behind the scenes projects on my business instead of just doing what I need to do to keep the business afloat. I have been doing some of these things that I am hoping grow and expand. And I am just so excited about this goal. I will probably forever set a goal like this, and it will vary based on the quarter and what the quarter looks like and based on my knowledge and what I learn about myself. And then of course it will change because my daughter's schedule will change and all these things. But for now, I'm really, really thankful that I set this goal and what it is doing for me behind the scenes. I feel like I said that phrase 800 times in this video, and this video is probably incredibly long. Thank you to my amazing editor, and thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you did, I saw this idea on somebody else's video and I'm gonna steal it. If you watched all the way to the end, I would love for you to comment below with I should have come up with the idea before. Do a fall leaf emoji because September is going to be the first month of fall. Fall is going to be here before we know it. So if you finished all the way to the end, comment below with a fall leaf emoji and let me know what you're excited about for the month of September. What action steps are on your list? What are you working on this month? Let me know down in the comments. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every week focused on helping you achieve your goals. Thank you so much for watching. I have so much other, wrong. But, cut the butt, obviously. Cut the butt. I need a sip of water after all that.